Let's help ourselves together. I just read that recently and it made me feel so good just reading a thing like that. Let's help ourselves together. So I'm going to give you some of my ideas, but first I want to say unemployment is going to be greater than 20% nationally, and in Las Vegas, unemployment is already over 40%. And so this is pretty devastating. And first and foremost, compassion for people, and also help where you can help, especially if you're in a great place personally. Give back, do what you can. So stuff like if you can order out and support local businesses and tip really heavy. If you know things, skills for a boosting immune system, make videos and other content and put it out there so that people can find it on Facebook, on YouTube, and wherever else. Healthy recipes, fitness tips. I've been doing a lot of those lately, just giving away all these fitness tips and recipe tips and nutrition tips to help people build their immune system so that people can be healthier and hopefully the virus won't be so bad for those people. And things you can do to, find opportunities at home. If you're quarantined at home, you're finding ways to not lose your sanity and to make it pretty interesting and to find opportunities in the darkness to make it brighter. Share anything that you know, just put it out there. It's really important, and do it for free. If you normally charge for a service like this, I would encourage you to just do it for free like I'm doing, and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, so here's a couple of ideas beyond that, and some really big solutions here. So especially as it relates to the unemployment numbers and just the vulnerability of mainstream has conditioned us, myself included, until about 12 years ago, 2007. Until about 2007, mainstream conditioned me, as well as most other people to this day, that put your reliance, your dependability on your employer to take care of you, the government to take care of you, work hard and things are going to be fine. That's never really been true. And I think right now with this current pandemic, that's being exposed probably more than ever before, certainly in my lifetime. I've never seen anything like this. Even older people I've talked to that are in their 80s and 90s, they've never seen anything like this. So this is pretty unprecedented and uncharted territories, as they say. But nonetheless, it's being exposed that it is not a good idea to put your vulnerability into an employer or the government, especially when it comes to your livelihood, being able to take care of yourself and your family. There's a lot of people right now that, the lights just came on in their head that, oh my God, my life is actually decimated if I depend on my employer or the government to take care of me. And for those of you that still have your job through this, because maybe you work at a grocery store or some essential thing like that, I'm sure that's still running through your head like, oh my God, what if they do a true lockdown quarantine and I can't even go to my job anymore, and then what? So there's all these kinds of fears flying through our heads. And the only way to go into a situation like this prepared, especially from a financial aspect, so that you can keep the lights on and pay for food and not run out of money and things like that, is this. You have to get out of the mainstream conditioning of putting your reliance on a job or the government. You can still have a job and you can still love your job and all those things. Just don't put your dependency there. So here's specifically what I mean. There's nobody in mainstream media or in politics or any mainstream circle that's talking about leveraged forms of income. And specifically what I mean by that is if you search YouTube and Google, great search tools, search leveraged forms of income, search residual money, search passive money, and see what's out there. There's thousands of opportunities. In 2007, I got in one, and in 2020, I'm still in the same one, because when I signed up in 2007, it was a new thing. I knew nothing about it. I just knew I needed it because I needed to be free and not be vulnerable to an employer, because at that time I had my own personal tragedy that I needed to deal with and find a solution for, and this was it. So I learned about residual money and leveraged forms of income. I got into a home business I could build online, and I just got my ass to work with the learning curve because it was completely new to me, and it took an upfront time to where I got it to a place to where it could eventually take care of me if, God forbid, something happened to other sources of income, like if I had a job, or whatever, if I depended on the government for, I don't know, food stamps or whatever else they could have maybe helped me with. But I wasn't getting any of that stuff either. That's another story. So That's it, my friends. You have to find something that you can build, and right now you might have more time than you normally do. So that could represent a huge opportunity. And usually in moments of despair, crisis, pandemics, downturns, recessions, depressions, whatever, all those kinds of things, those are usually where the biggest opportunities are found. However, the majority of people don't look at it that way. They just see it grim and bleak, and they don't do anything to be prepared for the next one that happens, because there's always going to be something down the road once we get out of this one. There's going to be very few people that's going to take advantage of opportunity to learn about leveraged income and then actually do the work to build it so that they're prepared the next time a storm like this happens. The majority of people are not going to do anything. They're going to play video games. They're going to watch TV. They're going to continue to allow themselves to be programmed by all the mainstream outlets about we need a healthy national economy, and you need a job, and you need to depend on government and this and that. And most people are just going to still subscribe to those old obsolete schools of thought, and they're not going to pay this kind of stuff like leveraged income any mind whatsoever. So they're going to live they're going to continue to live very unnecessary hard lives. And I wish it wasn't that way, but it is what it is. So we can either respond to an alternate reality that does not exist, or we can respond to the way that it is. And the way that it is obviously we cannot depend on our employer or the government to take care of us. If you want to live a lifestyle where you're in control, and it's not going to matter what the government does or an employer does, and you're going to be fine anyway, then the only solution is a leveraged form of income from assets that you own and you control. Because a job and the government, you have no control over those assets whatsoever. When you have no control over something, the less control you have over something, the higher the risk. So with something where there's zero control, that's 100% risk. And I've always said, well, for the past 10 years or so, I've said, if you're going to depend on a job or the government, change whatever the name is of your profession to professional gambler, because 0% control is 100% risk. You are the riskiest person on planet Earth, but you're not alone. That's a very large club of hundreds of millions of other people that are tied with you for riskiest person on planet Earth. So the more control you have over something, the less risk. So if you have 100% control over something, there's really no risk, or virtually no risk at all. Now, I don't think it's possible to have 100% control over anything, but let's say you're 99% control over something, because now you learned about leveraged income and it's coming from assets that you control. So 99% control, maybe you're at 1% risk now. That's a lot better than 100% risk. 1% versus 100% risk. It's a no-brainer, man. It really is. So there's going to be one or two people that hear this, a message like this, whether it's for me or somebody else, that's going to resonate with, and they're going to do something about it. And maybe 98, 99% of you that hear this are going to be like, it sounds good in theory, but for whatever reason, you ain't going to do anything about it. And you're going to continue to needlessly suffer. And that's, well, you got to live with your decisions. I don't know what to say about that. But so anyway, this message in this video is here for those of you that want to do those search terms on Google and YouTube and start seeing what's out there in terms of leveraged income and residual money, and find something that appeals to you and go after it. Just immerse yourself in the learning curve, because you have no idea how to build it or what it is or any of that. So just embrace learning. And then if you want to see what I've been doing, I started in 2007, so it's 2020 right now. It's been 12 and a half years for me. So this August of 2020, it will be 13 years. So it's been 12 and a half years for me so far. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. One typical reason that people give me who do enroll with me is that they're like, Tom, you know, there's a lot of these things out there, and a lot of people get in these things, and then they get in one and they get out and they're somewhere else, and suddenly I have no support. The person that brought me in, that sponsors me, is gone, and I don't know what to do. But Tom, you've been doing it for a very long time, obviously. Obviously, I'm rock solid, and I get that feedback probably more common than any other rationale that somebody uses to pick me over the thousands of others that are out there. So if you're of the same train of thought and you want to see what I'm doing, just let me know. The end product of the leveraged income business model that I represent just happens to be a product that deals with helping people boost their natural immune system, which is obviously extremely relevant to everything going on right now. And even in good times, it's still relevant, because if you don't have any health, you're dead. If you have poor health, life is harder. And if you have great health, life is easier. So that's all. The end product is always going to be relevant anyway, which is, I believe, one contributing factor as to why I've been doing well since I started all those years ago. So I look forward to hearing from those of you who want to find a solution to this problem, and especially as future stuff comes up, you want to be prepared and you want to know that you're going to be okay. So if I can help, I will help. I check my messages at least once a day. Just reach out, and I'm happy to share with you what I've got. And if it turns you on, we'll do it. And if something else turns you on, hey, I hope we all make it. Whether you sign up with me and my deal or somebody else and somebody else's deal, I hope we all make it. That's my number one objective, is that I hope we all make it. Okay? And I hope you have the same attitude as well, of we're in it together. No more every man for himself. I don't believe in that. We're all in it together. So let's help ourselves together.